Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast. And welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
What is the scariest thing that has ever happened to you? Bee hunting elk in northern New Mexico, America and stuff. Walking up a trail with friend I'll call B. Walk too far up the path and turn around. Walk even further the other direction. Realize we are lost. We were found about 2.5 miles off the trail and had followed a different trail on the opposite end of where we started. Without bearings or landmarks, it's extremely easy to get lost in the woods. Even if you think you are retracing your steps perfectly. Scary feeling being lost.
High school. Initially going for a law major, but end up aiming for computer science instead. Entire family is completely tech illiterate. They start shitting all over me, claiming I'm throwing away my future just to repair computers for a living, although I actually aim to become a software engineer. Become very depressed as a result of the daily life I'm subjected to. Attempt to end things 6 times, fail. Meet up weekly with a psychologist. Although I did keep those attempts secret, I couldn't hide how screwed up I was. She ultimately reveals that she intended to address my computer addiction issues at some point. Currently about to start my first year in uni. Got started with coding in C recently, though I'm advancing painfully slowly due to laziness and no ability to concentrate. Last night. Dream about myself 15 years from now. Running in late-night London during some blackout. 1984-esque propaganda everywhere. Police and government agents are chasing me everywhere. Turns out I completely subverted their electronic surveillance by reverse engineering communication protocols in order to implement heavy OTR encryption, or some shit like that, among other things. Realize the government has the means to travel back in time. They have been brainwashing my entire family and friends in high school, as well as rigging my environment, just to dissuade me from acquiring the knowledge that allowed me to thwart their surveillance program to begin with. Back to reality. Not even in uni yet. Still struggling with C loops. Realize how pathetic that dream was when contrasted to my current abilities, or rather lack thereof. Nothing in the dream is probably ever going to happen. While I know that this seems completely fucking delusional, I honestly kinda want it to be true. To give me the resolve to keep going no matter what. It's late now. I feel like dying.
Be out caving with some family, lagging a little behind, come up to a fork in the cave, take the wrong path, end up at some underground stream, go back the way I came. Wait, this isn't the way I came. Have to squeeze through narrow gaps as it looks like the only way other than back. Pretty sure I'm getting deeper. Silence. Can't even hear the stream. Flashlight is a pretty cheap one. Hard to see anything more than 3 steps ahead. Decide to turn back and try to find the original path. After 20 minutes, find my way to the entrance, but didn't realize it, as a spider had made a huge web over the small gap I came through. Really not a fan of spiders, so decide this probably isn't the way out. Head further back into the cave. After another 15 minutes, find a group checking out some glowworms. They didn't even notice I was gone. I don't think I will ever go caving again without being part of a proper tour group.
I'm afraid my stories aren't too spooky, but it was by far one of the scariest things I've witnessed. Anyway, be me, like 7-year-old Florida boy on a winter vacation at my uncle's house in Wisconsin. Uncle owns lots of land, decides to take me to see a frozen lake, hike for maybe 10 minutes to a patch of woods, hike another 5 to 10 minutes until coming up on a clearing. I see the frozen lake through the remaining woods and start to get excited. Uncle hushes me when he hears rustling off in the distance or something and sees an animal across the frozen lake. He is a really big gun nut and hunts every living animal that steps foot on his property. Doesn't have his gun but is curious as to what it is. He and I stay along the brush line but step out of the woods. I can't see what he's looking at. Finally spot something across the ice. Uncle picks me up and starts sprinting out of the woods before I could analyze the figure. We stayed at his house for another week. Asked him to go back to the lake. No. Asked what that animal was. I don't know, Anon. Ask how he knew it was there. Assuming he had some sort of hunting technique to spot animals. You didn't hear how loud it was screaming? Nope. I never thought much about it being so young, but judging by the figure I can remember, it looked like my idea of the devil to me at the time. But really looking back, it was more like a deer with long black fur standing on its hind legs, but slouching forward and looking directly at us. The other time was when I was in high school back in Florida, skateboarding with friends at a dead end facing some woods. Don't judge. It was 2005 and I was 15. Gets dark, but there's a street light. No worries. We're tough, right? Keep skating. Here's some people walking through the woods. The woods have a path in the middle about 15 to 20 feet wide that cuts through to another road about a mile away. Nothing special. Getting ready to go home. Sit next to the woods to rest and yell to my buddy, "Hey Anon, you ready to head home?" Here behind me in the woods, "Hey Anon." Not coming from the path, but the actual thick woods. What the fuck? Who's there? No response. Buddy comes walking up to me and says, "Yeah, Anon, let's head out." Go to pick up my skateboard. Unhuman scariest voice ever says, "Yeah!" Super loud. We both nope out of there faster than we've ever noped. Investigate the day after where the voice came from. Trees and shit broken in a 10-foot diameter around that area. Never figured out what it was.
Be me at 12. Out to dinner with my family. My 8-year-old sister goes to the bathroom. This restaurant is boat-themed and at a marina, so the restrooms were boat-themed and outside the main building. Sister goes to the bathroom. She's not back for a while, so I decide to go to the bathroom too, and see if I see her on my way out. See my sister talking to some bum-looking dude. I may have been 12, but I was a big kid for 12. Dude sees me and gets a scared look in his eye. "Hey Anon, I was about to help this guy look around for his friend Jeffrey." I knew something wasn't right, so I said he should probably talk to the manager or something, not an 8-year-old girl. Guy still tries to convince my sister to come with him. He gets visibly angry that I don't let my sister go with him. See a chef we've known for years getting off duty. This chef is a big bubba-looking dude, 6'2", maybe 310 pounds. Flag him down and tell him to help. Creepy bum hightails it out of there before the chef can reach us. See his face on a Florida mugshots website about 6 years later, and see he got arrested for Discord moderation. This fucker was gonna Roblox, if not worse, my sister and possibly me if it wasn't for my doubting of his story and our chef friend. It's ominous to think about, and my sister and I discuss it to this day.
Nothing spooky in the vein of actual danger or stuff like that has ever happened to me, but something took place last week that's occupied a lot of my mental energy. Maybe/X/ can provide an explanation. Part 1. Be in Pakistan 5 years ago, visiting our cousins. Hot day as usual, and 2 of my cousins and I are standing outside of their house. They're smoking cigarettes and I'm watching, being the 14-year-old I am. Right as we turn around to go inside, this motorcycle comes speeding around the corner. This by itself isn't odd. Most people in Pakistan are rather poor and can't afford an actual car. It becomes odd when the guy parks on the other side of the road, gets off the bike, and walks towards us. Realize he has a gun in his hand. He points it at one of my cousins and starts demanding stuff in Urdu. Being a panicked kid with barely passable Urdu, I can't understand much of what he's saying. Eventually, the guy points the gun at me and my cousins go hysterical, just asking for him to go. After a long and uncomfortable silence, the guy spits on the ground, spins on his heel, and walks back to his bike to drive off. Later in the day, I ask one of my cousins what the guy wanted. He tells me that he wanted one of them to go inside and bring out a Dr. Muazzam. Very common name. Odd, because no one named that even lives here or on this block. No one in the house is a doctor. Looking back, I was shaken up but didn't expect anything spooky as the guy had looked rather peculiar. Bright red eyes, and I remember this vividly, patches of the hair on his arms was missing. Looked like it had been pulled out. Figured dude was probably a mental patient or a drug addict, guessing by his appearance and the fact that he was inquiring about someone who, far as I know, does not exist. Shake it off. Part 2. Last week. In community college. Get out of night class early, so decide to chill with friend for a bit. He drives us to a gas station because he wants something to drink. We go in, get our drinks, and are sitting on the bench right outside the store talking and enjoying the warm night. All of a sudden, this Bentley Continental comes roaring into the gas station, parks right in front of where we're sitting. That's rather odd, seeing as we're hanging out in not a dangerous but decidedly lower middle class place. Lots of homeless people and stuff. Dude gets out of the car. He's in his late 20s, early 30s. Wearing an immaculate suit. Has what looks like a haircut that runs in the 3 figures. The kind of guy who reeks of money. He goes inside the store, gets whatever he needs to get, comes back out. As he passes us by, he stops, sort of like he's forgetting something. Looks down at us and sparks up a conversation. Find it kind of odd, but it's not like he's going to rob us. Dude's wallet probably cost more than how much either of us have in ours. We talk for 10 to 15 minutes about school, the economy, etc. Guy is really confident and charismatic, but sort of dodges any personal question we throw at him. He does tell us that he's a consultant of some type, whatever that means. Eventually, friend and I rise from the bench, decide it's time to go. Guy checks his watch, agrees. As I'm about to say bye, he looks me right in the eyes, asks me very slowly and very deliberately, "Do you know where Dr. Muazzam is?" My blood runs cold. I definitely heard him, but the only response I can muster is a shaky, "What?" Guy laughs a bit, looks down at his shoes for just a moment, turns and gets in his car, drives off. Say all of 2 words to my friend on the ride back. I wasn't not really pissing myself because I wasn't in any immediate threat, but it's unsettling to say the least. Google returns nothing.
For me, the scariest would be the night we checked out an abandoned farmhouse. We never made it to the house that night because the field surrounding it was impassable to anything but a 4x4. So, the idiots we are, parked in front of the gate. The road adjacent was right on the edge of another county and prone to police speed traps. I turn the headlights off because we see something reflecting in the second floor window. Still reflecting, almost like a light is on. Then we noticed a car coming from the other county. It passes and then immediately brakes and starts turning around. It's a cop. He blocks us in and pops his lights on. Had a stockpile of illegal fireworks in the trunk. He walks up, asks what we are doing. The only thing I could think to say was, I pulled off the road to make a phone call. Then he asks who left the car. We are pretty confused, but he persists in saying he saw someone outside the driver's side door. I swore to him there were only 3 of us. He then asked for all of our IDs and walks back to his car to run them through the radio. I look back at the house for a second and see the entire house is lit up. Then it all goes black. But for a blip before it does, I swear I saw someone standing in the window, the same room the reflection came from. Immediately after that, the cop walks back in sort of a hurry. He was white in the face, pretty much throws the IDs at me, and tells us to go home in a completely hoarse and non-authoritative voice like he had been. He then gets in his car, reverses, and peels out down the road. He didn't even wait for us to reverse, or even see that we were leaving. So, being the idiots we are, we decided to take the side road and park the car and trek through the field to see the house up close. The field had some kind of ditch in the middle, was a significant jump. I jump over. We hear one of the most inhumane screams I've ever heard. Hightailed it out of there. Never been back.
This was about 2 to 3 years ago. It's not scary or spooky like most stories here, but it's the most mysterious I've had happen in my life. It was around 9 to 10 p.m., and my dad and me were the only ones at our house. My mom works night shift at a hospital, so it usually ends up being that me and my dad are the only ones home for dinner and the rest of the night. I had to call my mom regarding something about school, so I called her on her cell. This is the first important fact. What I should have noticed first, but didn't think anything of at the time, was that her voice sounded extremely sick and raspy. She's around sick patients all the time, so I think I assumed that she might have just caught a bug or something. I talked to her about what I needed to talk about and hung up. I really didn't think anything of it at the time. About a few minutes later, my dad asks me to call my mom back up again, about some finances or something I can't remember. I tried calling her back up again on her cell, but she wouldn't answer. Tried again. Nothing. It struck me as a bit odd she wouldn't answer her phone just minutes after I talked to her. But again, I just thought she might have had to do something right after. I told my dad what had happened, and he gave me a weird look. "How did you even call her cell? She called me from work earlier and told me she forgot it at home." Of course, I told him I just talked with her, showing the call log and everything from my cell. But he called her work number, and my mom told me herself she really did forget her phone. He just thought the lines might have mixed, and I just talked to someone senile or mental. But what was really disturbing me was, whoever was on the other line acted like and knew things she would only know. I spent the rest of the night looking around the house for the phone, trying to make sense of things and thinking that if I had found her phone, something would make sense. Trying to call it in hopes that it would ring out its hiding place, but couldn't find it before I had gone to sleep. The next day, I tried continuing searching for it in the morning, thinking with more daylight, I'd have a better chance of searching for it. I did. I called the cell again and finally heard her usual ringtone. The phone was found under the master bedroom's bed, even though I had thoroughly searched the night prior beforehand. I had checked the call log, and it shows that someone did answer my call and ignored the calls after that. In addition, there were 2 new photos on the camera, taken during the night it was lost. One photo was of complete darkness, as if someone accidentally activated the camera in their pocket or left flash off. The other was taken in front of our house, like one you'd take when you pose with your family in front of a new home. It was dark, except for 2 rooms that were illuminated in the night. The room that my dad was in, and the room I was in when I phoned my mom. I tried to tell my parents, but they just thought it was an elaborate prank to creep them, and told me off. I never investigated further than that because of a family emergency and finals that were happening at the time.
Went out bow hunting for whitetail this past fall, invited to some public land outside of town by 2 friends from work. Sure, why not? Get out there, no set spots to sit. Just tramp around and sit somewhere you like. We all go through about 50 yards of super thick brush. Other side is about a square mile of swamp with woods on the edges. I keep going after they sit, good half-mile further into swamp. After a couple hours, start getting a creepy vibe. Realize I am further in than them, but I'm not familiar with these woods at all. Move back closer. Getting dark. Hear coworker 1 climb out of tree and start walking my way. Meet up. Where's number 2? Yelling his name, walking in circles from where we thought he sat. Pitch black, grabbed flashlight with no battery. Hear birds, bugs, animal sounds. Trying to decide if we should go and hope he went to his truck early. Getting creepy vibe again. Animal sounds, gone. Fuck him, let's go. Follow coworker through even worse brush, literally walk through the upper half of a downed tree without realizing until we were falling over huge branches. Get to the open field, see his truck lights on up where we parked. Got out without anything too spooky happening. Still got the feeling like we were being followed the whole way out.
This all happened about, say, 3 or 4 years ago. Was away from home, spending the evening with a friend at his friend's house. I've been there once before, fiddling around with some instruments in the basement, joking around about making a band, but I knew I would never do it. Friend's friend was telling us stories about how he saw black figures rising up out of the floor, and other strange things. Although I went on /x/ at the time and heard you guys post stuff like that, I didn't think anything of it. Anyway, back to the present. We just got back from the store and made a shit ton of macaroni and cheese, sitting around the TV watching that awful movie, The Love Guru. Now, there were only 3 of us in the house at that time, me and my 2 friends who were sitting across from me. The staircase to upstairs was behind me on the couch. Feel what I can only describe as someone thwacking my ear as hard as they can. I am sitting on the couch with the stairs behind me and immediately get up, asking my friends if they saw anything. Of course they didn't. They were watching the TV. So I start flipping up the couch cushions and pulled out the couch to see if something rolled down the stairs somehow and hit the side of my head, or if a bug jumped and hit me, but it was the middle of winter, and there shouldn't be crickets or whatever out jumping around. Anyway, I finished my food and the movie and I left for the night with my friend. I haven't been back to the house again, but I think about it sometimes. So, I wasn't really scared, more just confused about what was going on. I still have no idea what happened.
12 years old or so. Vacation to the beach. Go swimming in the ocean. Swimming really long time, playing in the big waves. Eventually start to get tired. Look back and the shore is surprisingly far away, and the current is pushing further away from the shore. My friend knew not to try to fight the current, and to swim up or down the shore instead, and it took a very long time to swim back. Not paranormal, but very scary to experience the hazards of the natural world, doing what it does. not with any malice, but neither any remorse, nor any way to stop it.
Oh God, I know that feeling. Same thing happened to me over spring break this year, at secluded area of beach with friend and his family. Riptide warning. Swimmers beware. Know how to escape riptide, etc. Who cares? I'm 18. The warnings are for children, idiots, and old people. Body surfing huge waves for an hour or two. Lots of fun. Getting tired, decide to turn to head into the beach. Can feel the current working against me. Beach is getting further away. Water getting deeper. Getting harder and harder to stay above. Still getting further and further out. Oh God, why are they just standing there? I'm dying. Heart racing. Starting to see black in colors. Can't stay above long enough to catch my breath. I'm going to die today. Eventually flip onto my back to catch my breath and calm down. Waves still washing over me every few seconds. Eventually start slow kicking on my back, parallel to the beach. Get out of the riptide. Start working back to the beach, still exhausted. Catch a huge wave most of the way back to the shallows. Stand up, stumble out of the water, and collapse on the beach. Friend's family runs up to me. OMG, are you okay? Was about 100 meters out, ended up about 200 meters down the beach, and that is why you don't swim with a riptide warning.
When I was a kid, my grandmother used to scare me about the Lamia. If I'm not a good boy, Lamia will come to choke me to death at night. If I won't eat all of my food, the Lamia will come to eat me at night instead. If I'm out past my bedtime, the Lamia will come and get me and take me away. I was young, and thanks to Grandma, I was really afraid of the Lamia back then. In my mind, I was picturing her as an old woman, pretty much like a hag. So one night, me and my friends were still out and playing hide and seek. I wasn't doing very well through the game, so at one turn I decided to hide at some place I knew my friends would not look. It was a dark alley that the streetlights rarely got turned on, and if they did, they were flickering, and that was somehow too spooky for us. So I was hiding in that alley when one of those streetlights started flickering and turned on, and right there below, I saw an old woman. I know now, it was just a harmless old woman, probably on her way home for the night. But in my young mind, it was the Lamia, and she finally had come to get me. You guys aren't going to believe how badly frightened and shocked I got that night. I was having nightmares about her for a long time to come.
Be 17 and homeless, chilling in my car in the library parking lot. I crash here 90% of the time. Haven't slept for more than an hour in roughly 108 hours. Using Adderall, Vivans to stay awake and finish high school while working. Put away clothes in the trunk, brush teeth, and sit up front in driver's seat to listen to the radio before bed. About to sleep when I notice a critter making its way across the grass near the woods behind the library. I feed stray cats and dogs all the time. Get excited to smoke, and then hang with a fellow vagrant. Little fella walks under a street light at the far end of the parking lot. What I assumed was a cat or dog was actually 4 to 5 times bigger and had black fur. Appears docile, making small circles around the street lamp at this point. I am absolutely exhausted and rub my eyes almost 10 times to try and make out the creature more clearly. What the fuck .jpg? It's a fucking panther. Size and gait of the creature suddenly makes sense. Still, what the hell? This is Northern Virginia. To make things even better, another panther makes its way out of the woods, across the grass, and under the streetlight. Both panthers proceed to literally dance around the base of the light playfully. Sitting here absolutely baffled until I realized that I had been awake for more than 4 days now. To my surprise, a car pulls into the parking lot and both panthers dart before it gets close enough to see them. Couple making out. Decide to go to sleep. Spotlight wakes me up 15 minutes later. Police cars investigating the couple. He sends them home with a warning. I am spotted by the officer even though my car was off and I was hiding in the back seat. Why are you sleeping in your car? Got kicked out and didn't care enough to go back. Officer is nice enough to hear me out, but forces me to return home as an unaccompanied minor. Leave home the next day to avoid trouble with my mom.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel as more Greentext will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.